Well, he's Hollywood's leading eco-activist. That's what we're going to call you. Just because you are. I mean, I've never met anybody who's been more green and more energy efficient than Ed Begley Jr. He's here with his wife, Rochelle Carson, their daughter, Hayden. Contractor Scott Harris is joining the conversation as well. And they're going to take us inside this brand new home that is next to, what did you say? A yurt in Topanga. The greenest facility in America.
He tried to get me to live in one of those, but I said no.
Just for people who don't know, there's the round
fabric. It's not really hard surface.
It just kind of looks like a teepee.
Yeah, for a more permanent structure, this is very, very green.
It would have cost less, too.
It would have
done a better job.
All right, 26 years, young man, you lived in this home.
A beautiful house.
And you didn't want to leave.
No, I had done a retrofit on that home, which is what most people do to green up a home. They take an existing home, 1936 home, and they make it greener. And we did that with great success.
Yeah.
But then Rochelle said, we don't have enough closet space. She said that early on when we were dating in '93. I said, you need to get out in the dating pool again because I'm never moving. I'm never, ever moving.
Wait a minute,
She didn't listen.
Yeah. Could you explain what you were doing on the bike there?
I was riding my bike to generate electricity to go into the solar batteries with which for the purposes of this shot, I was toasting toast.
So you're working off the calories.
It could go in the batteries and run a light bulb all day, a computer all day, or in this case, we toasted toast for 2 or 3 minutes of toasting.
How long would you have to bike for that?
You have to ride really hard for 15 minutes because on a bicycle you could only make 250 watts. Any bike rider knows this, of course. You know your wattage. But it takes 1,400 watts to toast, so you can't do it unless you put it into batteries and ride for 15 minutes. Then you get 2 or 3 minutes of wattage.
You're like Lance Armstrong.
Right. Well, no, it's a nerd's thing. You know, I'm a gearhead. I like stuff like that.
I think it's fascinating.
Rochelle, one of your main concerns when you were building this house was, I know that Ed wanted it to be as green as possible, but you also wanted it to look nice, because green doesn't always mean pretty.
Imperative. I wanted to build a house that no one had an excuse not to build. So I wanted it to look like any other house in our neighborhood. So I based it on a 20s...
William Hefner?
Right, William Hefner. My architects. I walked into my architect's house, and he said, can you do this green? And he said, yes. And I said, great, because that would fit in the neighborhood that I live in. I didn't want anyone to have an excuse not to do it. I didn't want to have an excuse not to do it, is really what it was about.
Some greenhouses look like George Jetson, I don't know what, but this looks beautiful French Mediterranean design, like William Hefner's.
Right. Well, we actually have video of it. You invited us into your house.
We did.
Look at that. Walk us through this.
Okay, when you look at this
that's beautiful already.
Okay, we're going up to the roof to look at the solar now. And up there we have 9 kilowatts of solar. There's Scott Harris, the builder who built all this, made all this happen. And up there, 9 unshaded kilowatts. And so we got it on this one too. Good.
Yeah.
You can see. You can't see the solar panels.
Yeah,
She's at the south of the property trying to find them. You can't. You need a drone up above hovering to see the solar.
Well, I wanted to make sure that was the case.
Yeah, it's good to see it.
And from the front of the house, you can't see it. That's the front. Looking at the front, you can't see it. Most people don't want to see solar panels. I don't mind seeing them. I'd rather look at them than smog. But you see a vast array of panels. It's enough to spin the meter backwards, running all the appliances, and also charging the car. It'll be a net zero house. I would use no electricity from the grid. I'll use it as my battery backup, but minus and plus, it'll come out to zero. Sure. So that's quite a successful system.
And I love the Spanish roof.
It's so beautiful. Everything about this house is gorgeous.
They want the authentic house. If you're going to build a 20s Mediterranean house, you want it to look like a 20s. You didn't want it to look like one that had a little modern, and so it can be done. That's the point.
The infrastructure, the way he realized the dream, Scott got all this stuff to be practical, to be environmental, but to work very, very well. It's all very functional.
I notice it's a flat roof with sun panels and whatnot.
Yeah.
Does that help? Because I want to talk to you about the water system that you have in the house.
So we actually did 2 things on that roof. We actually collect the sun and we collect water. It turns out they were both free. So we put these big drains in there, and in 2 1-inch rainfalls, we can actually collect enough water to fill up that 10,000-gallon rainwater tank you will not be able to find in their yard. And it all goes down there, and then it irrigates their farm.
Let's take a look at some of the video and take us through this, too, because this is fascinating, especially in the drought that we have.
I'm firing up the systems down here.
That's the storage tank on the left there.
Okay.
Feeding the dogs there.
A wonderful life source water, filter water.
Right.
Okay.
Now this is my domain. I love this bathroom.
This is beautiful.
There is a switch underneath one of the sinks, and you can change it to sewer to landscape. And the reason you would do that is if you're using Clorox, which we wouldn't, but if you're using any toxins, you don't want it to go into your landscape. You want it to bypass and go into the sewer.
And all those are wonderful Kohler fixtures that are very water efficient. Too. Don't forget that.
Very much.
This also works for the laundry as well because
so you had to use bleach.
You have to use bleach.
Right.
You're doing your laundry too? I got to get my kids to do that.
I mean, it was a first time event, but
First time.
There's a tank going in. That's
Well, at least there's footage of it, right?
yeah, I mean, what a lot of people don't know is that the reason we are in a drought is because of a large percentage is because of non-permeable surfaces. We're not collecting the water. It's not going back into the aquifer, penetrating the ground. So by collecting this water, we had a drought last year and filled up our 10,000-gallon rainwater
We can use it for crops. We can use it for our fruit trees. The gray water goes to the fruit trees. The rainwater will be used to irrigate all the crops and the drought-tolerant garden, all these California Native Plant Society, beautiful sage,
I'm about
lavender.
to eat our first crop. There, I did it. There we go.
She had a tomato.
That was it.
You could.
The Begley Farm.
Pretty good.
Not bad. You got a farmer's market going now, too.
That's right.
Set up a stand, sell your goods.
Corn. I'll be out front of the house there selling corn. Come on by.
I understand you also had serious specifications about the walls.
That's right. The walls I wanted to be 12-inch thick. I wanted them to have good insulation. It's foam insulation in between. There's a problem with what we use, though, steel. Steel can conduct, but we have this wonderful multi-level thing that Scott did with all kinds of foam on the outside and stucco on the outside.
7 layers.
Different how many? 7 layers?
7 layers on the outside of the building.
You can see the steel right there. You see some of we left some of it visible for crews to come and shoot. You can see the foam there in those little areas and the steel. There's some stills of us doing the steel.
Why was it important to use steel?
Because I'm always saying, I'm out there protesting up in the redwood saying, don't take down these trees. Why are you taking down those trees? I'm not about to build a house out of them if I'm going to say that. You build a house out of steel, it's not only good in that way, it's 65% post-consumer material. It is very good in a fire, obviously.
Yeah.
It's very good for earthquake. You know, it's much better. A screw holds better than a nail. And it's very good for, mold. You can't get mold on steel.
Termites.
Termites.
They don't exist.
All those wonderful things add up.
In the event that they don't like what we built, you can always completely recycle the entire thing. We can do it again, right?
Which actually brings
feel
up
about that, Rochelle?
which brings up a good point, because there was a house that existed on this piece of property, right? That you
And we didn't want to put that in a landfill. I wanted that to be recycled, so I contacted my friends at Habitat for Humanity and said, come take the easy pickings first, the stove, the microwave, the doors, the windows, and here what you see is all this wood. They pulled apart by hand. They didn't bulldoze it. That went to a place in Mexico where they built a church out of it. All the bricks and all the wood. 96% of this house was kept out of a landfill. 4% went in a landfill. 96% kept out, but it was all used to make a church.
Wow.
You're amazing.
Yeah, no, these people that realize this dream are amazing. I just...
Oh, honey, he's finally giving me credit.
Not you, stop.
I was just about to ask
right.
that. I was just about to ask that.
That's my role.
Yeah.
Just to sit in the background.
Well, even our hardwood floors are recycled barns and buildings.
That's right.
We have beautiful hardwood floors.
They're gorgeous, and it's all made
drank
from
the Kool-Aid.
recycled barn and building.